The What to Read Next podcast helps you build a TBR of future favorite books. In each episode, Laura and Maine interviews authors and book influencers to recommend books they loved for you to pick up today. If you're an avid reader, always looking for your next great read, then the show's for you. Hi, Lily. Welcome to What to Read Next podcast.
Hi, Laura. Thanks for having me.
So happy to have you here. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name's Lily Chu. I am a writer living in Toronto. So I live in a very small crooked house with 2 cats, a beautiful chameleon named Cammy, who is getting old. So he's just hanging on his branch right now, and my husband and my daughter. And I write rom-coms with strong Asian characters.
I love this. And so what led you to start writing rom-coms? You know, was it something you passionate about, film, movies, books, or like what was your gateway into this genre?
Yeah, it's funny you should ask because I was a paranormal writer, paranormal romance, like love fantasies, science fiction. The very first book I wrote was like a cyberpunk book. And then a couple years ago, my agent came to me and she's like, have you thought about writing a rom-com? And I said, no, I don't think so. Like, I don't think that's my thing. And she's like, it could be your thing if you keep an open mind and you kind of are curious about it. I'm like, no, I don't think so. And then later on that year, some stuff happened in a writing organization I was part of that had to do with representation and diversity. And I kind of thought, like, the books I'd been writing, they weren't hitting the subjects I really wanted to talk about. I would just, maybe I'm just not talented enough, but I wasn't able to do it in the way I wanted to. And I thought a rom-com really was kind of something I wanted to try writing, because I really wanted to try talking about these issues, but not in a whack you over the head sort of way, but more of an observational way that would get people thinking about it, and in a way that I was kind of comfortable talking about it. Mm-hmm. So I texted my agent. It was funny because I was like, I'm going to write a rom-com. And I get a text from her. She's like, we need to talk. And we got on the phone. I'm like, I'm going to write a rom-com. She's like, that's what I was going to tell you were going to do. And then I had this idea and I wrote it in 6 months.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah. It was a pandemic book.
It was oh, okay. I was going to say.
So this was the first month of the pandemic. So I started writing January, I don't even know, 2020. All the years are blending to me right now.
Yeah.
So, I think like a lot of writers, I needed something to get through. It was an escape for me to get through those first few months. And I just sat down and wrote.
So this book came out as an audio first, and then it's going to be printed afterwards. Did you write it knowing that it was going to be audio first, or what was the the process?
Yeah, no, it was written as if it was going to be pitched for print.
Okay.
But it went to auction with, I think, 6 or 8 publishing houses, and we went with Audible and then Source Books as the print publisher, but it wasn't written for audio. I think my writing style kind of lends itself well to audio because I tend to write, dialogue and shorter sentences. And now with my second book, I was thinking a little more about the audio side of things, but it's not just audio dialogue in the sense that there's just 2 people talking and no description or anything.
And so are you an audio listener, or was it something that came up afterwards? You're like, oh, like this is a whole new world out there.
Yeah, I've been listening to audio for a few years. I listen to it when, I go for runs or walks. I like podcasts, but I still find that when I'm listening to audiobooks, I gravitate to nonfiction still. There are certain audiobooks that I'm listening to in fiction more now, but for some reason, I really like nonfiction audiobooks. And even some of the fiction books I've read in audio or listened to in audio, I've gone out and I've picked up the print copy as well. There's just something about holding a book that I really like.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I think for me, I'm more of like a memoir for audio. And every so often, I got caught up with Audible because Audible has like so many, every so often they give so many original content.
Yeah,
You're so it's immersive and you just like get caught up. But I think for my first passion is like nonfiction, like memoirs, celebrity bios, like people like, telling your story and you just like get immersed in that world. But I found that romance books lends itself well to audio, just you get immersed in this world that's happening
yeah,
and you know that the ending is going to be happy.
yes,
uh,
so
you
important.
know you're
Yeah, and
not going to be
no
frustrated.
intimacy when you're listening.
Yeah, you're not going to be frustrated at the end. You're like, I gotta throw this book away because
Oh,
I
that's so upsetting. Anything that's a cliffhanger or anything that's not right now, especially if
Mhm.
it's not happy and it's not all tied up in the end, I am rampaging.
Yeah.
I just I really need a happy story, and I need to know it's all good at the end, and that's fine. If it ends up with some sort of an ambiguous ending, I'm like, I don't have the emotional wherewithal to do that in my head. I need you, the author, to give me the happiness.
Yes. I completely agree. So let's chat about the stand-in. Tell us a little about the elevator pitch.
Okay, so in one line, it is about a woman who takes on a job impersonating a Chinese film star at events. The longer version of it is Gracie Reed is a biracial Canadian woman, so she's half Chinese, half white, living in Toronto, and she gets accidentally misidentified as this Chinese film star named Wei Fong Li. Um, for reasons, Gracie gets fired from her job, and things are just not looking great for her. So when Wei Fong Li comes to her with a suggestion that Gracie act as Fong Li during events, she kind of reluctantly says okay because she needs the money to get her mom into a culturally sensitive long-term care facility rather than the kind of the one she's in now. So 2 days later, she's learning how to be a movie star. She's living the life of luxury. She's got designer clothes and bags and perfumes. And she's also trying to deal with Sam Yao, who is the sexiest man in the world,
Mhm.
according to rankings. He is Fong Li's best friend, rumored boyfriend, partner, um, irritating beyond belief to Gracie, and also Fong Li's escort at events, which means that he's now Gracie's escort to events. So the book kind of follows um, Gracie as she kind of deals with this world and starts to fall in love with Sam, and starts to wonder, is Sam in love with her or this vision of her kind of as Fong Li? And that's where I'm going to go with the plot because I don't want to give away any spoilers. But it also looks at, Gracie's got questions about what it means to be biracial. So, um, identity, and it looks a lot at mental health, and it looks at friendships and family. Um, and if you are into productivity planners, planning, to-do lists, huge chunk of it is devoted to that, a huge chunk.
I love this. I love the fact you're like giving us different niche, like different hooks. Like if you're into this, then it's this. And if you're into this, there's this. And as someone who loves Hollywood, real glam, the glamour,
Yeah,
the PR, the what if, how do you create the narrative? This book is for you. Yeah.
yeah. And productivity, which I don't know if you're like a to-do planner or a list
Yeah.
person. Yeah.
Yeah. So are you a to-do planner? Are you into productivity, like geeking it out, like get a planner every
Yes.
year? Like what kind of are you digital planner or you're like paper planner?
I'm both.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm both. And I kind of live by the philosophy that the next planner is going to be the life-changing planner. So I'm always kind of looking for the next thing, right? Right now I use a digital planner called Things 3. So I have that, and that's where I just kind of like when I'm thinking of stuff, I just log it in there. But then I also have a paper planner where I kind of put everything I want to accomplish that day.
mhm.
Um, and then I also have, I'm looking at it right now. I have a journal calendar, and then, yeah, just there's probably too many. I should probably streamline it a bit.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna check out Thanks Trees. Actually, that one I'm curious about that one. Paper planners, do you have any specific company or specific ones that you go for that are trying to, or do you have any ones that you're like, okay, like I've tried this one, definitely can skip it, or this one is like my next one that I'm looking forward to?
Okay, all right, here we go. I really wanted to be a good bullet journaler. I wanted this so bad. I watched the video. I bought so many like things for bullet journaling. I bought stencils. I bought stamps. I bought washi tape. I bought it all. But that aspirational me is not me. I'm just not, I'm actually not very visual, and I'm not really good at keeping track of all those things. So I tried really hard. Bullet journaling was not my thing, but some of the elements of it really were, like looking at 6 months ahead. So now I have a Hobonichi, which is, it's got calendars in the front and it's got days, each page is a day sort of a thing. So I use that for journaling, and then kind of like calendar planning. But then I have just a notebook. I found this brand. I love the paper. I love the look of it. It's called Design Works. And this set of notebooks called Standard Issue, where at the top they have the months, they have like the days like 1 to 31. And so you can just circle where you are. So there's not that pressure of each day having to, like, with a date planner. If you
Mhm.
miss a day, you're like, oh, I'm a failure. Like, I have failed at this day. So it gives you a little more flexibility. So I use that to put in my to-do notes.
Okay, I love this. Yeah, I try to be a bullet journal too. I watch all the videos, I watch all the spreads, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so great.
Yep.
I have the ability to design them or to make them pretty. The only thing that came out of it is that I used the Lectern 1917
Oh,
journal, but I
yep.
used the rule version because I do journal every day. And
Mhm.
so I used a rule version, which I like that because I have like all these colors and it has like
Yep.
sticker. They can tell what month or what year it is each journal. But yeah, I tried bullet journaling and I was like, nope, did not did not work.
But I wanted to be a bullet. I wanted to. I wanted to be that person with the beautiful, you look online, and this is where a lot of the online stuff kills me. It's not so much looking at beautiful people leading beautiful lives, but it's looking at people with really tidy houses,
Yeah.
um, with a single steaming cup of coffee in the morning, and they're just in this beautiful handwriting script. They've got, what they're going to do that day, which is something, going on a picnic or something amazing. And it's got, watercolor water lilies painted around it. And I'm like, that's what I want. And there's no way I'm ever going to be that person. I can't read my own writing. I only use black pens. I can't draw to save my life.
Yeah,
But
I've been using Notion every so often, which is kind of like a wiki meets calendaring meets
mm,
database. It's like you can make your own website, but it has
okay.
like different features and they have like different templates and like people use it for goal setting and for like calendars on like a to-do list. And so I wanted to be really good at that and have that be like this one place where I have all of this stuff.
Yep.
It's like committing to it beyond the initial intake. It's
Yeah.
like, how do you maintain it? That's my problem. I don't maintain the stuff. It's really
Yes, me
hard.
too. Yeah. And some of these have a really intense learning curve. Like bullet journaling has a learning curve.
Yeah.
This sounds like it's, I'm going to have to take tutorials on learning how to plan my own life.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. So that's an option. All right, let's chat about some book reading. Oh, what are you working next?
oh, okay. So my second book is coming out in July from Audible. So my print book, The Stand is coming out in print in May. And then my second book is called The Comeback, and it's about a ambitious lawyer who falls in love with a K-pop idol. So that's coming out in July. And I'm currently writing my third book, um, which I don't want to give a lot of details about, but it takes place kind of partly in luxury fashion.
Ooh, I love this. I love that you're tapping into these like worlds,
Yeah.
fashion, K-pop. Hollywood, you know.
The
So
K-pop one was so much fun to write.
yeah. Oh my gosh, I love this. All right. So what are you currently reading?
Um, so I'm drafting right now, which means I'm steering away from a lot of rom-coms because I don't like to read whatever genre I'm writing in at the moment. But before I started drafting, I read two amazing books, both by Toronto authors. One is Jackie Lau's Don't Fall in Love, which
Mhm.
is just the cutest thing in the world. But she also deals with a lot of heavier issues in her books too. So in
Mhm.
this one, it was each of the characters had lost a parent.
Mhm.
So it was touching, and it's about a movie star who goes to a baker to get lessons for a kind of cooking reality show he needs to go on.
Mhm.
So highly recommend. Also, make sure you have lots of snacks and treats when you're reading it. And then the second one was Farah Heron's Camila Knows Best, which is an Emma retelling.
Mhm.
Um, and it was, again, all of Farah's stuff's amazing, and this was no exception. It was just a really great, fun read.
Mhm. Yeah, I've been reading Camilla Knows Best. I'm listening to it, and then I really love Jackie Lau's Done to Fall in Love, like the donuts. Like that was
Yeah.
like it was just so good. I
Now,
actually listened to both of those, and they're great, great in audio too. So
yeah, I've read them,
physically.
physically, um, but I really enjoyed them. Like I don't know about you, but I found my attention span has
Mhm.
not been the greatest lately.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of books these days where I can't finish them. I get a few pages in, and I'm like, it's just not the book for me right now. But
Mhm.
both of those, like from page one, I was totally immersed and was just happy in my happy space reading them.
Love this. Do you have any other books you recommend? It doesn't have to be romance. It can be anything.
Yeah, so because I'm not reading a lot of romance, a little while ago I saw Death on the Nile.
Mhm.
The new Agatha Christie. I saw it in a theater with
Ooh.
popcorn, which got me back into my love of kind of golden age of crime books. So I've been rereading a lot of Dorothy Sayers and Niall Marsh,
Mhm.
which they're just such fabulous writers. And if they're new to you, then I would recommend. Um, if you're reading, let me see, I actually have them right here. So I'm going to just take a cute look right now. Um, let's see. I would say if you're reading Dorothy Sayers, her detective is Lord Peter Wimsey.
Mhm.
And I would start with Strong Poison because that's where he meets his love interest and future wife, Harriet Vane, because Harriet is a detective story writer on trial for killing her lover.
Mhm.
Um, and it's just a really great start to their love story and their story. And then for the Niall Marsh's book, I think it's Artist in Crime. That's where her detective, Roderick Allen, meets his future wife, who is an artist named Agatha Troy. So again, the both the characters and like kind of go through the books together. They end up getting married. This is no spoiler alert. Like,
Mhm.
the books have been out for decades, but it adds a really lovely human element to the actual murder mysteries in the book, which I have never ever managed to solve before the end.
Woo!
Never.
I love this when that happens. It's like, oh, I did not know how to, solve.
Yeah. It's
There
like,
it
oh, and then I go back, I'm like, oh yeah, those are all the clues.
is.
Um, but I also have a really bad habit on mysteries of kind of skimming over some of the detail stuff to get to the people stuff.
Mhm.
Um, so, and that's a total me thing, but so I've been doing my murder mysteries and reading a lot of nonfiction. So right now I'm reading one. It's called, I think it's called The Weirdest People in the World, and it's about the how psychology institutions have kind of shifted the psychology of people in Western worlds. And the
Mhm.
weird part is an acronym for weird, educated, industrialized, rich, and developed, I believe, by
Mhm.
a Harvard prof. But I'm only a couple chapters in, but it's interesting.
This one sounds really interesting. And yeah, I feel you. I sometimes read cozy mysteries and I'm like, and I read actually no historical mysteries and I go for the romance first. Like I follow the romance, I pay attention to that and not to
Yeah.
the actual mystery of it,
Yes.
Like, I'm like, I just want to know, like, are they gonna hang out? Are they gonna hook up? Are you gonna have some fun? You know?
Yeah, yeah. Especially when, the love interest is also a suspect.
Yes, like I just want
Oh,
to know.
yep,
So
of those.
I understand. Just skip into clues and be like, oh, what's happening with
Yeah.
people. So
I'm like, I know I'm gonna reread it. I can get the clues later.
yeah. So tell us where we can find you online.
So I am mostly on Instagram and it's at Lily Chu Author. I'm also on Twitter at Lily Chu Author. And then my website is, guess what? lilychuauthor.com. I'm not on Facebook. I watch a lot of TikTok, but I'm not on TikTok. I watch much too much TikTok, but I'm not on it. So, it's probably best to find me on Instagram.
Awesome. Thank you, Lily, for being on the show.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this podcast, feel free to share with friends, subscribe, rate, and review the show. This is the easiest way to support the podcast. Today's episode's partner is Libra FM. If you're an audiobook listener, then you should add Libra FM as your go-to source for paid audiobooks. Libra FM makes it possible for you to buy audiobooks through your local bookstore. Memberships start at $14.95, and they also have great sales for romance audiobooks each month for $3.99, thanks to the Kiss Club. To sign up for Libra FM, please visit whattoreadnextblog.com/LibraFM. You will receive a free audiobook when you sign up for a monthly subscription. If you purchase a subscription through our link, you will be supporting the podcast at no cost to you. The What to Read Next podcast is part of the Frolic Podcast Network. Please visit frolic.media/podcast to discover new shows to tune in. Thank you so much for listening and have a great day.